And good morning. Yes, it's not 4:44, it's 3:33. But I woke up at 2:44 this morning and I was wide awake, unfortunately. I didn't go to bed until between 11 and 11:30, I believe it was. I don't really remember. Yeah, I think that's when it was. It was just past 11:11. Yeah, I do remember. I thought, why didn't I go to bed at 11:11? But it was just a few minutes past that. Anyway, I'm here and doing my video at 3:33 a.m. on the 23rd, 2 days before Christmas in 2011. And the way we write dates, it's 12232011. We've got a bunch of ones and twos and threes, so 123, here we go. Oh, today the I didn't get to the computer till just a few minutes ago, and I quickly wrote this title and wrote a little blurb. Overview of 2011, just a little bit, is what I titled this, which isn't a very catchy title. Sorry about that. The blurb that I wrote: today I will be interviewed by my friend Marcus on Blog Talk Radio from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's New York City time. The title is 2011 to 2012, Reflections and Projections. Yesterday was a big day for me as well. Not only did I get to have lunch with my good friend Paige and her family visiting Disney World from Texas, I got to meet two other friends via the telephone. The latter provided me with some legal suggestions. I also got two in the mail Christmas cards, one from Holland and one from Ohio, and I will share more today. I put that in there. Yeah, where to begin? Yes, it was wonderful meeting Paige. Many of you are mutual friends. Many of my friends are mutual friends. She was a lady that I met early in the year, and her first email to me was, "Where have you been all my life?" And I encouraged her, and she did several videos throughout the year about authenticity and other things. Authenticity is one of her big passions in life. And I got to meet her wonderful husband and her daughter and her son. And I don't need to name them on the air. I thought of naming them, but I thought, no, I don't need to do that. Anyway, it was an interesting time that we got to spend together yesterday afternoon, and I really enjoyed it. And I came home and took a little bit of a nap, and was awakened by a telephone call from one of my listeners in New Jersey, who put me in touch with another person who has never listened to my thing, but has a tremendous wealth of knowledge insofar as the law. He comes from a background having to do with commercial banking and mortgages, and dealing with the legal issues involved in those aspects. And so what he provided me was a tremendous amount of information and several suggestions, some of which I must admit left me a bit confused, because there are so many various options that he suggested, everything from filing with a federal court to filing with the state Supreme Court to filing other motions with the appeal court, because as he pointed out, there were so many of their own rules that they broke in this matter, even dating back to the origins of the original lawsuit. That has nothing to do with them taking my home at this point, although it is all interconnected. Anyway, I still have to sort out all of this information, and he said to respond quickly with whatever I do to make it to do it quickly. And I'm already feeling overwhelmed, and that made me feel even more overwhelmed. And another friend wrote me again suggesting that I file a lawsuit against the lawyer. And there have been quite a few other suggestions. A lot of people suggest that I just simply ignore it. Don't fight, ignore it. Just let it go, it'll go away. And I thought as I shared with my friend in New Jersey uh, last night on the phone, I thought back in 2010, after I had filed my UCC 1, and when there was no response to that, which was filed as an affidavit, within the 30-day period of time of my filing, I waited a little bit longer, and then I filed basically my final judgment in the matter, because the truth had been established, and the judge responded by removing the case from the docket and what they call a continuance. But in any case, he said, I was told last night, when they remove the case from the docket, there's only two things that they can do with that case. It means either the case was sealed or dismissed. They're the only two options in law, he told me. Now, I never knew that before. In fact, he gave me information about things that I had never heard before, like the fact that they only served me with the original papers back in August of 2005, even though the lawsuit was filed on July the 26th, 2005. They didn't serve me papers, as I recall, till the second week in August, and I had to actually ask for the papers to be served, because I heard through the grapevine that there had been a lawsuit filed, although I had no notification of it. And they have to serve in person, or at least by signed receipt, registered mail. They have to have proof that they served. And when they did serve me papers then, but when the original lawsuit was rejected by the court and they had to amend it, anytime that there's an amended motion, they also have to serve notice, and they didn't do that. So there were many due processes of law, many steps that were avoided in the whole process of this lawsuit, which I've known, and there's been denial of rights. And he said, forget the UCC 1, forget the straw man arguments. He says they don't pay any attention to them, but there are other things that you can do, and you don't get justice. He told me early on, you don't get justice in the state courts because they've broken federal laws, and there are federal rules that have to be done properly, even at the state level. So you'd have better success filing a complaint in federal court, which is another expense and another challenge. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I have a wealth of information. I have been gathering information about these things, folks, for a long time now. And it is a veritable maze of confusion. The entire legal system is a fraud. I've told you that other times. The governmental system is all a fraud. The banking system is all a fraud. We live in a world that is totally fraudulent. The fraud is the way the beast works. That's the way it works. It started with the Catholic Church actually being created by the Roman Empire as a way to further the Roman Empire, and then was advanced further under Charlemagne in the new, or the Holy Roman Empire back in 800, I think it was 800 AD or somewhere around that period of time. And it has been progressing to build and build and build. And the whole thing, here's one of the things that I've learned. A corporation usurped the government, literally, in the United States. And it didn't just do it in the United States, it has done this around the world. Corporations have taken control of the world. Now, a corporation is a legal fiction. It's a lie, in other words. The whole thing is a lie. It's a structure, but it's a fraudulent structure. It's not real. It's a creation of a monster. And that monster has been in control of the world. Not just recently, but for all of our lives, and for many of us, many of our lives, throughout the journey of our soul. And one of the beautiful things that has happened here in 2011 is that people are waking up more and more and more to this fact. In fact, as I was sitting in the meditation room, I started out praying, and I got this little message inside, no, just shut up and listen. and it was like they were playing me a tape of the things that had been happening throughout this year, and the changes, the visible changes, and the ones that may not be quite as visible, yet they're changes that have occurred throughout this 2011. And if you remember, my early on videos were actually the result of the article that I wrote at the end of last year, just about 51 weeks ago now. I wrote that article, 2011, a year of massive visible changes, that went fairly viral on the internet, and catapulted me into a position where people wanted to hear what I had to say. Hence, these daily broadcasts were the offspring of that article and the response of the world to that article, thanks to Mayan Magic and other websites that just, Rumor Mill News and fourwinds10.com and various other, my friend Gene Hudon and the Earth Rainbow Network. I mean, these things catapulted me into a position where people wanted to hear what I had to say, and that has been a tremendous, tremendous change. I never could have predicted that. I did not plan it. I did not dream it. It was beyond my expectation, beyond even my wildest imagination, that 1 year later, less than 1 year later, after being given that message that 2011 was going to be the year of massive visible changes and to stop making excuses and get on with my life, after I got that message between Christmas and New Year last year, it's like it took on a life of its own. I mean, I was connecting with people all over the world, from my friend up in Vancouver, and I always forget his last name, and why do I do that? Steve Beckow. I remembered it. See that? Thank you. Steve suggesting to me that I should do a news behind the news type of broadcast, because I had the voice for it, and I don't remember all of his reasons that he gave, and I didn't even own a camera at the time that he suggested that. But it was the 11th of January that I actually began my first video, and I actually was just simply videotaping things that I had written and reading what I had already written. That's how it started. And then I felt the impulse that I was supposed to be doing it every day, and I don't think it was every day. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think initially it was every day, and sometimes I might have done 2 or 3 or 4 videos in one day. I don't really remember how I did it when I first started out, but I'm pretty sure that before the end of January, it was definitely a daily video thing, and now I have people, a nucleus of people that watch the videos faithfully every single day. They have breakfast or lunch or whatever watching my videos. I've had families say that they watch them together, and certainly Paige's family, I mean, not her son so much. He's only pretty young. He's just became a teenager, 13. But anyway, the daughter and her husband also listened to my messages, and the daughter was really, really resonating with some of the things that I was sharing around the lunch table yesterday. And so these are the exciting things that are happening in the world, or I should say in my life. But it's affecting the world because the world is listening, not in the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, and certainly nowhere near the millions. I've only had, 400,000 total total views of my channel since I began, according to YouTube statistics, which I don't think are 100% accurate. But okay, I've not even reached a 500,000 total views yet. But there have been a lot of interest and a lot of things happening. So it's been an interesting year. And this is a little bit of some of the things that I'll be sharing in the radio interview, or the Blog Talk radio interview with my friend Marcus. And then next Tuesday, I'm Peter Beamish, who does like a telecast, a podcast type of thing. I don't know exactly what the link is to that, but he's going to be interviewing me, and that's going to be on camera and not just on the telephone like the Blog Talk Radio is. So that's going to be interesting. And Peter Beamish is he's interviewed people like Abraham or Esther and Jerry Hicks, and others, Neil Donald Walsh. So I've being catapulted into the company of some pretty high-powered and highly recognized individuals. And all of this is not of my creation and doing directly. It's the gift of grace that the Spirit of God is giving me. So I thank you for listening to me today as I share a little bit of an overview of my life for 2011, and especially some of the things that happened more recently. And again, I invite those of you that are able to tune in oh, how many hours is that? It's quite a while away down the road yet. It's over 6 hours away, 7 hours away. But at 11 o'clock this morning, I will be online with my friend Marcus, and that I believe that's a live podcast where you can call in if you choose to. So whatever is going to happen there, it's going to happen. And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for listening. Namaste.